All right, today we're working on an 03 ML350. We're gonna do the lower ball joint. So first thing, there's the lower ball joint there. First thing I noticed on this is this ball joint is completely pressed in. But the new ball joint that we got has this lock ring and the bottom is threaded. So I went on the internet to make sure that this is the right ball joint, and obviously this must be the replacement ball joint for this car. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna take the tire off, get in here, take the tie rod end off, take the upper ball joint loose, get the ABS line out of the way, get that nut loose, and then we're probably gonna have to take the whole knuckle off. So we're probably gonna have to take the axle out also. It's usually probably easier to take the whole thing off, and then we'll press this ball joint out and put the new ball joint in. Hopefully the new screw-in ball joint will fit on this model. So let's start taking it apart and I'll see if it's the right one or the wrong one. We got the tire off. We got the caliper off. The caliper is held on by two T40 Torx here and here. It bolts here and here. And you just rock the caliper forward and over. And then there's a 6mm bolt, 10mm head that holds this bracket here. So then I just wired this out of the way so the hose doesn't have any tension on it. Then the ABS sensor here, it is held on by a E10 reverse Torx, and then the ABS sensor just pops out, so you get that out of the way. So next thing we'll do is to get the rotor off to make it lighter, there's an Allen head bolt there. You take this bracket off, so then the rotor will come off and make it lighter. Then we'll come in here and we'll get the upper ball joint nut off, get the lower ball joint nut off, take the tie rod end off. So let me get that done and we'll get the knuckle off the car. Got the brake rotor off, got the axle nut off, got this nut off, but the axle will not come out of the hub. So we're gonna have to use this puller, basically a pusher, to push the axle out. It's stuck in there real good. So that's the next step, is getting the axle loose, and then we'll get the upper ball joint and the lower ball joint nut off. All right, so what I did, I went ahead and took the upper ball joint loose out of here, and then I used my presser to press the axle. Now the axle's loose. So now that I have that loose, that off, basically the only thing holding the hub on, get that out of the way, is the lower ball joint. Now I can get an impact in here and get that right off. All right, so now that I got the axle out of the hub and the upper ball joint loose, I took the nut off of here now. So all I have to do is beat this with a hammer and the knuckle. But what I'm also gonna do is, since this came out so hard, I'm gonna use a wire brush and I'm gonna clean this off real good, and then go in the hub and clean this out real good, so, and oil this so everything will slide back together. So now the next step is I'm gonna get a hammer, beat on the lower control arm to get the ball joint loose, and then we'll probably have to go in the back room, set it up on the bench in the vise, and get the ball joint press out to get this ball joint out. That's what's gonna happen next. I got the hub up in the vise. I've sprayed this down with WD-40. So let's just give it a couple smacks and see if it will come out without having to get the ball joint press out. Because, and then you want to make sure you remember which way it goes in. So you gotta remember that the stud is down. So let's start. Oh, it's coming right out. So it's right out. So we'll get the new ball joint out of the package. And we got the right orientation. Now we're gonna have to take the nut off. It doesn't fit in there with the nut on it. Oh, and it does fit back in here. I wonder if we can get this started. So let me see if I have some type of spanner wrench to fit this. I might have to cut a socket to fit on here. Let me see if I have the right socket to fit this. So I was lucky, I actually had a Ford spanner socket. This is for like a 1995 Ford F-150 four-wheel drive socket. I did have to take it to the grinder and grind the nubs down to get it to fit, but I got it to fit, used my impact gun to draw everything back together. Almost there. And there we go, we're all the way in. Okay, let me go get the impact done. I forgot the impact done. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now go ahead and see if this axle will. Yep. What I did on the axle is I cleaned it all up and I coated it really good with anti-seize, and it just slid right back in. So now all we need to do is start putting everything else. So basically I won't show everything. So now we got the lower ball joint in, put the upper ball joint in, put the tie rod in back in, and then put all the brake stuff back on and you're done. You're gonna need some special tools to do this job, but I hope this helps out everybody on how to take and do a lower ball joint on Mercedes-Benz. So please subscribe and leave comments below, and thanks for watching.